Hello and welcome, as it is the 25th of October 2017. Welcome. And let's talk about some trading. So a hashtag crypto trading video. Everything you do is your own risk, own reward. And if you notice Bitcoin prices starting to get a little extended, how well is it to decide to sell Bitcoin? At least only with the time frames that I'm showing. In a market that is very close to its all-time highs, doesn't seem to be so bad. What we're looking at is significant breaks of key points. So let's get more data, just because it'll be easier. And what we're looking at is when a major break of resistance is broken, how profitable has it been to sell short the Bitcoin price with the intention of buying back? And here, it grinded its way higher, making it very difficult, but you could easily state in here it was starting to get overextended. But if you kept chugging along and place sell order after sell order after sell order, the last one missing, from my look of it, assuming you had 4 sell orders in here, you should have at least 3 buy orders come back. And then again, we got a significant break here. Quite frankly, you might have only got 1 short opportunity in here. If you were fast enough to get it in here, it was in, well, if you have the order in, it was hit. But you probably would have only got 1 order in. At least looking at the way I am. So now we got another key level. So you in here, this is a loss if you sold here. Let's assume it's sold here. Let's give it the same label. It's another loss. Assuming it's sold here, that's a question mark. Did you get this buy order in here? Was it buy order here? Was it even in here? Okay, if in here, if anything is sold up here, you should have profited. No brainer. Here, they're really, you might not even sold anything because maybe you were trying to sell it here and it didn't happen. But again, everything you sold up in here, you could have bought back in here though. So then we break this resistance again. Decent move. Might have missed it. You might have got it. Everything is sold up from here on in. Easy profits. So here we have it. If you sold anywhere near this top in here, you could have got this order in here. This was too low of a move in here, but the question now becomes, as I see this pattern developing with these little cup formations, that if it's going to extend itself in here, that if you just plug away, that's what I'm thinking about doing, just keep on plugging away, sell bits and pieces every so often, 6,500, well, maybe 6,600 on an earlier spot, 66, 68, 7,000, 74, 78, 85, just bits and pieces at a time. I don't think it's going to get that high. And then you're planning on buying them back much cheaper. That's my thinking right now. And for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, what I did earlier within the last few days, I'm not going to give you the code, but my best trading has had the following results. And the left-hand column represents date, and the number 22 is the date in October, the 22nd to the 25th. The Eastern time, so what I bought or sold, if it was a buy or sell, and how many I bought and sold and at what price. So as I was getting out of a lot of tokens on the 22nd, I got rid of this one at 11:08 a.m., selling over 1,600 at 1,136 Satoshi. And then after the fork, I was able to buy them back at 10:48 p.m. Eastern time, buying 1,000 or so, a little over 1,000 after I had 1,600, so 600 or so less than what I had before, but I bought it at a marginally cheaper price. in the morning, I had noticed that I had sold 4.58, hardly any at all, at 12.32. I didn't want to sell anymore, so I removed my sell order. And I lifted it up a little higher to 13.85 because I thought I could sell it and it was too cheap at 12.32 at the time. And I sold them at 12.30, 4 hours later. But again, same thing. It was too cheap. After moved my sell order, and then as I was thinking about this over the next half hour or plus, I realized I had to buy more. So I did. At 1:08 p.m. Eastern Time on the 24th, yesterday, I had bought about 700 or so at the same price I recently just sold, and I bought more. So I added an extra amount to up to 1,529 tokens. So basically close to where I was before. And I sold every single one that I had at 2,400 less than 5.5 hours later after the purchase. How do you do? This is why I love the game, because I can actually make these trades and then to be able to buy it back less than 2 hours later at 1834. So the additional like almost 300 tokens basically free, including a bit of Bitcoin I actually paid less for this transaction than I made within this one. And then I sold every single one again, doing the same thing, and another additional 460 or so tokens. Now, the price is a little lower now, but hey, I've been able that quickly to turn 1,529 of them into 2,278. Well, I get enough to maybe take a couple people out for lunch, or whatever else that profit was on the side, which probably was a bit more than that if you're talking about McDonald's. But anyway, this is what I like about the trading game, is the volatility that it has. Now let's switch us up to Litecoin and talk about my strategy or play to have sold off alternate coins throughout the month of October to accumulate Bitcoin to the tune of having 90+% Bitcoin within my portfolio, when I'm used to having usually about a 2-to-1 ratio of alts to Bitcoins, maybe 30 to 40% Bitcoin. And I look at it as it was a bad decision. Bitcoin Cash was terrible. But when I was looking at what I was buying back and what I could buy back that I haven't bought back yet, even after the markets had its 10 or 15% rallies from the low, almost everything was pretty much cheaper, and a lot of times, or a few times, significantly cheaper than where I had last sold off, especially for the stuff that I sold off in the earlier part of October. And even some of the stuff that I sold off later or was doing well, there was things that I was buying for break even or small gains. It was very common, especially with Litecoin. I bought a decent amount of it back, but most of it I had sold like in here and here. Actually, a lot of it was sold in here too. And then some down in here. So it worked out that I was buying it at the same price, a little cheaper, and that's all fine and dandy. But the net result of selling in these alts ended up being the correct play, even though Bitcoin Cash, wanting to go after that, doesn't look like it is the correct play. So overall, my portfolio is happy when it's all said and done at this stage, although it isn't any type of being with emotions. The owner of the portfolio is happy with that. Therefore, if this thing does happen to roll over, because this is technical analysis, if it breaks the key support, comes back to it instead of supporting it like it had several times done in the past, it will resist it in the current sense, and then thus bring a decent size leg lower. And I now have a decent amount more of Litecoin than I did before. But as I look at my portfolio, as I was mentioning, I would normally have between 30 to 40% Bitcoin, usually around 30 to 33 even, and the rest in altcoins. And that always gave me enough availability to keep myself diversified enough for having Bitcoins and being able to buy almost anything that I want to at any given time. So that's why I like doing it that sense. But it's not much diversification when you're 90% Bitcoin. And I've bought some stuff back, but as I look at it now, I'm still 70%. So when I look at how I pretty much became a bear in the month of October for altcoins, I've loosened my position when I still got a lot that I want to buy. But I think Litecoin is going to be very, very good. And as I look at it, if any type of bearish setup comes in, I might unload 30-40% of what I got, not all of it, and realize I don't mind taking a loss on the way down if it happens, because I'm not dollar cost averaging my way in. No. I'm bit costing my average in the way in, because if this thing happens to go lower, I'm just going to be buying on the dips lower, which is, it means placing buy orders. That's it. If I do see what could turn out to be a failed breakdown fast move, then I'm going to have to find entry points in a bullish scenario and just read what the message of the market is. But I want to go over something a little interesting about just moving the market in itself. I have only ever, like once, but a few times over at small amounts between $40 to $100 at a time, actually bought Bitcoin with cash. And I did so at the gas station that I bought from, where I bought what they call a gift card to buy, or not a gift card, but like a voucher to buy Bitcoin. This was back in the late winter. And when I did so, I suppose when I claimed it on the internet and I said I want my Bitcoin, that the company whom sold it to me would have had to buy it on the exchange. Thus, my transaction would have helped bring the price of Bitcoin higher. With the exception of any time that I bought the Tether exchange, I don't think I have ever done anything within a physical trade to make Bitcoin go up, no matter what I do with the Litecoins or other coins. Because if you think about it, if I were to go ahead and buy 100 Litecoin here, 100 Litecoin there, that does not change the Bitcoin market one bit. Now, in a situation with these big markets, if there's always going to be an arbitrage within the actual currency exchange that each one has, and only a few of them have it, like this one, Litecoin, and of course as well Ethereum. But even the smaller codes, the way I look at it is, if you're going to be buying an altcoin up, you're going to be, say you sell 4 Bitcoin on a somewhat smaller exchange, which is enough to drive the market up well. And you drive an altcoin up, say, from 500 whatever Satoshi to 560 or 570, whatever. You sold Bitcoin, but the price of Bitcoin could never have changed and such. So the only time, I guess, that I have made the Bitcoin price go down is if I do things like use it as money on the internet and the places that take it actually sell it. But the whole point of me saying this is when you get the secular bull markets in codes priced in Bitcoin, especially the medium ones like the KOMODOs and the ones that are 30th, 40th, 50th on the market cap, and you pump them and they get pumped up so much, and it's people on these exchanges buying and selling them this way. And if they do it in mass, then that technically doesn't make the price of Bitcoin change at all. So I would think. And then, of course, when you sell it on the market, then that doesn't make the price go up on Bitcoin either. But if you ever get in a situation where everyone's getting into one and out of the other. And let's assume it's a situation where alts are going up and Bitcoin is going down, and I'm participating within the crowd. And maybe I sell one Bitcoin for different altcoins, and not a single one of my purchases would have done anything to drive the Bitcoin price down. But as the flow is going on with the masses buying alts and selling Bitcoins in a situation to such, then I would realize there are people that are literally selling Bitcoin against the dollar at larger amounts because of this exact same flow. So even though myself, I'm not participating in a mechanism to such that masses in crowd always are. So everything working together in harmony, I see no end of this in such, and I think there's a decent chance that we can see a harmony even of, well, maybe both altcoins and Bitcoins going up at the same time as well, which did occur in this time frame in here, when we had LITECOIN go from 0.004 up to this levels in here, just the great gains. Well, Bitcoin went from like 1,000 to like 3,000. So it can work that they both go up together and the alts go up more. But in the Litecoin case, when people are all talking about cryptos in dollar cents, something I don't usually do with the only exception of Bitcoin, and people are talking big about Litecoin, oh my goodness, $80, $100, $150, $175, everyone's talking big about it, and you have the monster pumps within it, then you get more buying pressure into codes like this than Bitcoin, and you get the days where Litecoin went up 28% today, but Bitcoin only went up 9%. And I think those can easily happen as well too. I'm going to end the video now, another long one, but I'll keep it under 20. I'll keep it under 18.5 minutes. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.